short rant on another subject because, frankly, I have had it. And I know a lot of other women out there are with me on this. I have had enough of the sexist treatment of Sarah Palin. It has to end. She was here in New York City today meeting with world leaders at the UN. And what did the McCain campaign do? They tried to ban reporters from covering those meetings. And they did ban reporters from asking Governor Palin any questions. Tonight, I call on the McCain campaign to stop treating Sarah Palin like she is a delicate flower that will wilt at any moment.
We'll be talking about William Ayers tonight. Now, let me ask you a question. How can you fight terrorism when you give speeches with, you sit on a board with, Axelrod says you're friendly with, and you never speak out against? Here's my answer. Would never sit on a board with a guy that bombed our Pentagon or our Capitol. And I want to know, wait. Why does Barack Obama sit on a board with, why did he stay, knowing his past, why did he be friends with the guy that bombed the Pentagon and wasn't sorry about it?
He sat on a charitable board, and a board funded by a conservative Republican and a friend of Ronald Reagan.
Was that poor judgment?
That was Walter Annenberg.
Let me ask you one question. All right, you asked me a question.
Okay. Are you anti-Semitic?
Not at all.
Okay. On your show on Sunday, you're the show that's named after you, right? The centerpiece of that show was a guy named Andy Martin.
I know you're reading your talking points. When I interviewed, hang on, I'm going to answer your question. When I interviewed Malik Shabazz, when I interviewed Al Sharpton, when I interviewed all these controversial figures, you see on Fox, we actually interview people of all points of view, whether we agree or disagree. So the statement you're about to read,
Andy Martin called the judge a crooked, slimy Jew who has a history of lying and thieving common to members of his race. Martin went on to write that he understood better why the Holocaust took place, given that Jew survivors are operating as a wolf pack.
I find those comments despicable. But wait a minute,
put it on your show.
We put Malik Shabazz on the show. I put Khalid Muhammad on my show.
Why am I not to believe that you're anti-Semitic? Why am I not to believe that everybody who works for the network is anti-Semitic? Because Sean Hannity gives a platform to somebody who thinks Jews are
I'm a journalist who interviews people that I disagree.
That was priceless. That clown, Sean Hannity, he is a clown. And you know the thing that's so funny about it? Welcome back into the second set of the J. Rouse Show. And of course, you can reach me at thejrouseshowlive.com. You know, I have the unfortunate burden of watching Fox News all day. Now, let me explain why. You know, I have this new Sprint Instinct phone. Now, it has television, TV, and so usually I work at different project sites. Well, I'm working at a project site right now where I have no connection to the internet. So my only connection to the outside world is through my phone. So while I sit there on my laptop and do the things that I need to do, I'm tuned in to Fox because unfortunately that is the only news station that the Sprint Instinct phone carries. For my television, you know, it has a TV on that thing. Hell of a phone. You know, it has CNN Mobile, but with CNN Mobile, which kind of upsets me, is that you get CNN up until 8 o'clock in the morning, and then after that it changes to some webcast, and I don't want to see that. So at least I have to watch Fox News. And so remember when Bill O'Reilly got into with Barney Frank about the bailout, and they were yelling at each other, and boy, Fox was so proud of Bill-O. They had him on there. He was on there bragging about how he got into Barney Frank's behind, and they kept playing the clip over and over and over again. But you know one thing that I noticed the day after this skirmish between Gibbs and Hannity went down, you didn't see one clip of it on Fox. They didn't even mention it. Fair and balanced. Those guys are nuts. So let's get back to what I was talking about during the first segment. We were talking about, eventually my conversation turned to my girlfriend, Sarah Palin, because once again, because she's sexy and fine and good looking doesn't necessarily mean she could be the vice president of the United States. So what I was about to tell you before the last segment ended was I saw this show on I want to say it was on 60 Minutes, and what they did was they took two females, one who was extremely fine, oh my God, extremely fine, and they took another lady which was a very nice, mature looking lady, not drop dead gorgeous, but she was a decent looking lady. They put these two ladies on the side of the highway, and they lifted the hoods to their cars, and they sat back and put a camera on them to see how many people would stop and help them. And the fine one, cars were damn near running into each other to stop and help her with her car. The other lady, some people did stop, but trust me, she didn't get as much traffic as the fine one did. Then what they did was they sent them on job interviews. Had professional resume writers write both resumes. And I forget what the job was for. So they wrote the resume for the super fine one. They made sure they wrote it where she was not fully qualified for the job. And then they wrote the resume for the one that, looked the decent looking one. She was okay. They wrote her resume to a T for the job. And they had hidden cameras in there. And guess what? Guess what happened? You won't believe it. When they sent these women in to interview with other women, they had the fine one there, and she would sit there, and the woman who was interviewing her, she was saying things like, well, you know what, we can teach you this, we can teach you that, and we can teach. We can sit here and make the exception for you because you're a hottie. And even as a female, I dig you. And then when the other female came in and interviewed for the same position, guess what? Well, you may be a little overqualified, or you may not. Trying to find things to disqualify this woman from the job, from the position. So I guess my point is that not only do males have some type of infatuation with sexy, fine women, so do other women. It's just the way we are built as a society. And that's what's going on here with Sarah Palin. People are so infatuated with her looks. Did I mention she was fine as hell? That they're overlooking the most important thing. Is she qualified? I'd rather have an ugly lady in the White House knowing what she needs to do versus some cute female that does not have a clue. And it was funny. I was watching Hardball the other day, and they had one of her former staff members on the show, and that guy confirmed everything that I thought. He said, listen, she is clueless. She really doesn't have a TJRS She really doesn't have a grasp of the issues. There's no intelligent curiosity about her. She ran for the office. The reason she won was because the other guy was incredibly unpopular. But the guy says she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's mangled answers before. He says she's clueless. But she has this ability, right, to attract folks. She has the ability to, smooth people over. She has that ability for folks to look at her in a certain way and feel comfortable about her. And that's the deal. They feel comfortable with her because they think she's pretty. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Make no mistake about it. That's what it's all about. Men and women like pretty folks. That's okay, but that's not the criteria for being VP of the United States of America. She has no clue. And I'm going to keep saying it, because let's not make the same mistake we made 4 years and 8 years ago. We'll continue this on the other side. Keep it right here on the J. Rouse Show.